I'm, I move to return to regular session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Are you ready? I move to enter an executive session for 10 minutes to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of the individuals to be discussed, and to return to this room at 7:06 p.m. No action is anticipated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
I move to return to regular session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item 5, consent agenda items. The items listed on the consent agenda are considered by the Board of Education to be routine business items. Approval of the items may be made by a single motion, second, and majority vote with no separate discussion of any item listed. Should a member of the board desire to discuss any item at his or her request, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. What are the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Item 7A, notice of hearing to amend the USD 253 2023-2024 budget.
Okay, we have some good news from Mrs. Pam Stranathan, Assistant Superintendent of Business Operations.
This is exciting. So after our audit was completed and we got our numbers back and ran it back through our budget, the budget software at the state, we have $594,278. I know on the document it said 790. That was the initial budget when it ran through, but when we recently did it, so we're excited. We have to republish because it's underneath that amount of what we published, and so that's what we're asking is to go back so we can publish it and get that money.
Great. Any questions? This is great news. I love to hear this.
Yes, it's exciting.
Okay.
It's an action item.
I would move to approve the notice of hearing to amend the USD 253 2023-2024 budget as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item
And
7.
Should have added the stipulation, I'd only vote yes if she brought this back every meeting.
I
With $594,000.
Can I second that
Right,
idea? Item 7B, approval of special education teacher apprentice job description.
Okay, well, we know that special education teachers are at a premium, and so Mrs. Glades, our Director of Student Services, and Mr. Giffen, Director of Human Resources, have been working on this. So Mrs. Glades is here to present this new opportunity.
Right, so we are here to present a teacher apprentice job description to you. As Dr. Harder said, the state has been working really hard to open up new pathways to the classroom. So not only for special education, but for general education as well. So this past couple of months, they have unveiled the Registered Apprentice Program. They've been hard at work on that. It's a 4-year program. It could possibly be finished in 3. But one of the guidelines for that, in order for us to host a registered apprentice or have the opportunity to do that, we need to list a job description, and we didn't have one. So that's why we're bringing this to you. You'll notice it is a classified position, so this would be a classified staff member who would be placed in a classroom with a mentor teacher. So I think that would provide a lot of stability and assistance over that 3 to 4 year program. So we're pretty excited to have this opportunity. What questions might you have?
So, fill me in on this. I'm the naive on it. But is this where we're trying to grow somebody into having a working toward their bachelor's?
Yes,
Okay.
grow our own, absolutely, which that's one of the things, I am not like Dr. Harder and some of these other staff members who have been with you all for so long in the district. I'm 9 years in, and that's something I've always been extremely impressed about with Emporia is that they do a fantastic job of growing their own. So this would be an extension of growing your own, yes.
I have a question just about how this works out with the state. So would this registered teacher apprentice program just be someone who is essentially supporting the teacher, or would they end up having a path to being licensed as a special education teacher without taking the typical route and the level of education your average teacher might get with a degree? Does that question make sense?
It does make sense. So we're in the very beginning stages of what that looks like. So like I said, it's a 4-year program. So it would start and the responsibilities would graduate, and get increasingly more on that paraprofessional, that classified individual as those years progress. So the stipulation initially is that they must have a mentor teacher that they are placed within the classroom. They may do some of those instructional type activities initially, but always coming back to that special education teacher, mentor person, and checking in with them. So those activities and responsibilities would just gradually become more over that 4-year process. I am not sure, I have not looked at how, because there are several universities who are doing this, Jeremy, so I have not looked at individual plans of study for all of those universities, but I would imagine it would just gradually get them the classes they need. It's going to look different for every individual, much like an IEP, an individual education plan, because you can start this with 0 college hours. You don't have to have any college hours at all. Some of our waiver or teacher apprentice programs that are still in place, for example, Fort Hays State, you need a bachelor's degree to start that program. Wichita State, you need 60 college hours. So this is the only program in the state that I'm aware of that you can enter with 0 college hours.
And we've talked about doing this with others, general education teachers, but this was an opportunity for a pilot because we do need special education teachers, so we would start with that. The other piece of that is having that mentor certified teacher tied with that person, so this will be an opportunity for a pilot.
Is the idea that, and this is a 4-year program, so the apprentice would stay in our district for 4 years is the hope.
Absolutely.
And then at the end of 4 years, they would have a bachelor's, they would have a degree. Would we call it a bachelor's degree?
So I'm not sure what we would call the degree, but they would be able to be a teacher of record at the end of that 4 years and be a special education teacher who we receive all of the reimbursement funding for, and they're able to write IEPs and provide those specialized services. So at the end of that program, that's what we would have.
So you said that they would be a classified staff member?
That's what they would start as.
That's what,
correct.
and then does that escalate over time, over 4 years then?
Yes, it does. In fact, the state gave us a kind of a format because not only do the responsibilities increase over that 4 years, but the pay should also increase over that 4 years. So the model that the state did provide for us was that pay increase every few months, and we would need to work together with our business office and just see how that would look like for us. So, but they have given us great guidance within that program, like so much guidance. It's clear they've been working on this for a long time. They gave us templates for the listing that you're looking at for the job description. So they've been very, very supportive as we kind of dip our toe in this new venture here.
Great, I'm so glad to hear that because I was worried that they would just be sort of, on this classified pay scale and with their responsibilities increasing.
Right, that's
so
a great
so glad
question.
it's all been thought about already.
So I really love this, but I do have one question though. The supporting information talks about related technical instruction or college coursework. Is that the individual that is applying for this, they would be responsible for finding the university, or
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. We do have to submit an application to the state if we have an intention of participating in the Registered Apprentice Program. So this is one of those beginning steps. So getting this approved through the board is one of those steps, and then we will submit that application. I'll work with Mr. Giffen on that because we need to let them know that we have every intention of seeking a registered apprentice and piloting that program in special education. So just going through the steps little by little at this time.
I think this is really great. I know that sometimes you get into student teaching and then you get your own classroom on your own, and it is actually nothing like how student teaching was. So I think this is a great opportunity for people to get a lot of experience before they're ready to have their own classroom. that you really get like 3 to 4 years of student teaching, so you feel really prepared by the time you're out on your own.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is just so innovative, and I'm so glad that we're going to be potentially adopting this.
Emporia State University is actually one of the universities that you can do this through. They're both general education and special education, I believe. So that's good for us as a neighborhood too.
I move to approve the special education teacher apprentice job description as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next item is 7C, door replacement at EHS pool area.
Okay, and Pam Stranathan is back to give details about that.
Spend money this time. Just what we got. So these are the first two items coming through from Corey from his department, and these are on the doors to the pool area, the exterior and interior doors. So requesting these will go through the buy board process, which they've done to be able to move swiftly and move forward with these. So just to share, the next board meeting, you're going to see a lot come through. Been in a lot of communication with a lot of businesses and there's a lot that are doing the tips, the buy board, and the state bids. So we'll see a lot of those come through. Corey's going to try to group those together. So like doors, windows, carpet, things along that line, so that they can be approved in bigger chunks, if that's okay with the board. And I've asked him also to be here for questions next week, but there's going to be a lot, or the next board meeting.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'm just really excited for this. Those doors have been in bad shape for a long time.
Yes, they have been. And so I know really just appreciate Corey and Caleb just like working so quickly to bring these items to us.
Thank you.
I move to approve the quotes through buy board from DH Pace for replacement of the interior and exterior doors at the EHS pool area as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8A, district highlights.
All right. Well, we had the quarterly report last time, so I just went ahead and went back a month. So we had the Tech College Superintendent Breakfast with Karen Darty, and so she gave us a tour, the superintendents that were able to attend, a tour of the dental area, nursing, emergency medical technician, welding, automotive areas, and talked about potential plans to expand the Tech College. And then that overlapped with Hopkins Awards. So we had Hopkins Awards that were starting at transition, so we went over there. And so Michelle Molinaro, we had 15 winners of grant rewards just from Emporia, and it went from $170 that Shelby Turney had applied for occupational therapy materials to $4,250 for Sarah Henning for hygiene supplies for students. So we're seeing some great outcomes from that. And they were so excited. Every single winner was very, very appreciative and very excited. It was a really, really great day. Cesar Chavez Day at ESU. It was March 28th. There was 121 EHS students. Really, really glad for that turnout, and they were really excited to be there. Heather Rios and Elaine Rojas, who are teachers at the high school, were there, and then Patricia Sayens Reyes and Concha Dyken introduced and gave their own stories about growing up with migrant parents who are migrant workers, and then their experiences as students. And then we had a KU doctoral student whose parents were in attendance, Margarita Arroyo, and she told her story from the time that she was growing up and how she went through high school, and she was given the message, she didn't graduate from Emporia High, just so we're clear, that she wasn't smart enough to go to college. And so she just talked about how she tried to figure out what her path would be, and her mom was her biggest champion and kept encouraging her to go ahead and try it. So she went and she got her bachelor's, and then she's a doctoral student now. So really giving an opportunity to students to see what could be accomplished. So that was really, really cool. And Cesar Chavez Day, it is a true full day, and they broke out into different groups, and students were excited, and they had different student leaders also with them, for them. Staff recognition invitations for our recognition and retirement event on May 1st. I loved doing that because it's an opportunity to hand the invitation directly to the staff member and then just kind of catch up. So I was able to observe, actually, went into Rick Eckert's classroom. He was talking about the FAFSA and how important it was, how complicated it was, and so just giving some background with that. Grand Charpentier was instructing on geometric drawing, so it was just fun hanging out in their classrooms. Kansas-Missouri Superintendent Forum was last week, Wednesday and Thursday. So districts are invited to attend from Kansas and Missouri. Emporia's always been a district, and so the requirement is that you attend at least one of those forums, and it's always really, really good professional development. First day sat with like-sized districts, so Washburn Rural, Seaman, Goddard, Gardner-Edgerton, Hayesville. And we just talked about different topics the first day, and then the next day we talked about ethical decision-making and the use of artificial intelligence in schools. And I am bound and determined to bring that person to us to do some training because she was amazing. She's a former teacher who works in New York, and she was pushing us to think about AI and then also thinking about policies, but then as we're writing policies, also remembering Google search and autocorrect are also AI. So we have to be really cognizant about all of that. So she was very, very interesting and crammed a lot into a very short amount of time. Jamie, Lillian, Grant, and Art and I, we went to the National Association of School Board Convention, and we had lots of learning, and I believe we're saving those topics for the next board meeting. So we have lots to share, and I've already been sharing some ideas with people. And then yesterday, had a Walnut listening tour. One teacher brought in her little one from the child care classroom, so that one, she didn't ask any questions, but she did participate. The Spanish club that was partially funded through the Hopkins grant has 30 kindergarten and first grade students, and there is a waiting list, so they can't wait to get in. Right now, they're meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then next year will be all the grade levels. And they are also already working on their multicultural night for October, and they said that's been growing every year. So lots of great things happening in the district.
Great, thank you so much. Item 9A, future board calendar dates. We have our regular meeting on Wednesday, April 24th at 6 p.m. here at Mary Herbert. We have staff recognition on May 1st at 5 p.m. at White Civic Auditorium, and we'll meet for our only meeting in May on May 8th at 6 p.m. here at Mary Herbert Education Center. I'll now take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.